right, all right. Hello, 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 hello. Happy Sunday, and welcome to Mars Retrograde. And so, if you see the title of this live, it says, "Don't let your mouth write a check your ass can't cash." All right. I know if you my age at least. If you born in the 80s or the 70s or beyond, I know you've heard them old folks say that. So yes, when you think of that symbol, think of that saying, think of Mars, because Mars is in retrograde, and Mars is the planet of war. It's also the planet of action. It is our desire, our will, our sexual drive. And so it is now stationed retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and Gemini, it's all about communication. And when Mars is in Gemini, it literally has no filter. And so we are I'm going to break this down per sign so that you know how to combat this Mars retrograde. And we will be in retrograde starting today all the way until January 12th of 2023. Okay. And so before I jump into it, if you are new to me, to my page, or any of my content in social media land, my name is Kay Catrice. I am the Natal Chart Navigator. I am an intuitive energy reader, and I help open minded, ambitious women to understand who they are energetically so that they can live their best lives in every area of their life. Okay. And so go ahead and jumping into it. So, you know that Mars is in retrograde. Okay. And so, whenever a planet goes retrograde, pretty much that means that that planet stops, it slows down, and from Earth's point of view, it looks like it's going backwards, okay? And it's really not, it's just from Earth's point of view. So, one of the good things about retrogrades is that they give you a chance to redo, okay? And so with Mars being in Gemini, okay, Gemini is all about communication, it's all about mental activity and duality. There's going to be a lot of crazy things that you may see. Gemini governs, local travel. So you got to be really careful when you are out driving. Because one of the things, and I've seen it when Mars was in the shadow period, is like people are going to be driving really hella crazy. They're not going to be paying attention to, where they're going. People just pull out in front of you, and you know, they don't even care. And then they're looking at you like you crazy or like you wrong. So you have to be really careful of that. Also, um, get your vehicles checked. Make sure your vehicles are in proper working order. You don't want to have any breakdowns or anything like that. Okay. And so Mars is, like I said, it's all about our aggression. It's all about our action. And so, while Mars is in retrograde, some things that here's some tips that you want to keep in mind so that you'll be able to work efficiently with this Mars and Gemini retrograde energy. Okay. And so, one of the things you definitely want to do is to learn about boundary setting, okay? Because you, when a planet goes in retrograde and it's in Gemini, sometimes Gemini energy can have problems with setting boundaries because it's just so all over the place. And not only that, it can have really big problems with accountability. And so you want to learn things about boundary setting, about conflict resolution, accountability, and repair. Even if, you know what I'm saying, you may have good boundaries, you can always get better. You can always amp your game up, okay? You also want to pause and take deep breaths because people going to be trying you, okay? Just people going to be trying you. And so you want to not only will people be trying you, but you may say something and that person might feel like you trying them. Um, you want to give your opinions time to marinate. You want to give other people's opinions time to marinate before you just fly off the handle and say something to somebody. You also want to reinforce your commitment to your self care, and ask yourself, is this really worth me getting pissed off about? Is this something that I really need to be upset about? Okay. Choose your mental battles wisely. Okay. You may need to do more journaling. You may need to get into journaling more. You may also need to not do the scroll on social media. This might be a time because Gemini communication, social media, this may be a time you may want to limit how much time you spend on social media. Especially when we have the elections coming up next week, the midterm elections here in the US. And so you may not want to be doing all that scrolling because it's probably gonna get real live next week. Um, Also vent, okay? And be free with your venting. um and when I say this, I don't mean go and vent to somebody else. I mean be free in your venting to your journal. Just get everything out, and it doesn't have to be like you're upset venting. It could just be, getting out all your thoughts, all your ideas. Just really doing like a major brain dump to get all of the information that out of you that you have collected. Because one of the things about Gemini energy is Gemini energy, it likes to gather information. It likes to be around knowledgeable, intelligent people. It likes to gather information so then it can go and spread that information. Gemini is like the bee of the zodiac signs. You know how a bee just goes from flower to flower, and it pollinates and everything. That's Geminis. They just like pick up a whole bunch of information and then just go tell it to everybody, to anybody that'll listen to it. Meditation. Okay, this will be the last thing, and then we'll get on to the signs. Meditation. Okay, you guys always hear me say this, and I'm going to continue to say this. Meditation and breath work is going to be key. If you have heavy Gemini energy in your chart, especially if you're a Gemini sun, moon, or rising, or if you have a Gemini Mars, um, then you want to definitely get you a meditation practice. You also want to do some breath work so that you can keep yourself calm, keep yourself level headed. You really don't want to fly off the handle, with something that somebody says, okay? And you have to be very careful because remember, Mars is in retrograde, so this is giving us a chance to redo, okay? And it's going to be more focused specifically on wherever you have Gemini in your chart. However, because Mars is the ruler of Scorpio and Aries, um, you're gonna those areas of your life may be feeling this retrograde as well. Okay. And so jumping into it, I'm gonna start with Aries. Okay. When I'm giving you this, it's for your rising sign. Your rising sign is the energy that people first encounter when they first meet you. So this is what I'm going to be giving you this on how it's going to be affecting you based on that. You can listen for your sun sign and your moon sign if you know them. Um, and if you don't know them, then I think I posted on my page here somewhere. But if not, you can go. I think my YouTube channel is still shows. You can go to my YouTube channel, and I have a tutorial on how you can pull your birth chart from astro.com. Okay. And so we're going to be in this retrograde energy until January 12th, 2023. So this is going to be a pretty long retrograde. Mars retrogrades are only every 2 years. And so we won't have another Mars retrograde until 2024. Okay. And so for Aries, okay, Mars is your ruling planet, and so that means you will feel this retrograde on a pretty deep level. And so it'll be moving through your third house. Third house is the house of communication. And so it could bring up some unresolved arguments with other people, including close friends and siblings, because that's also the house of close friends, siblings, aunts, uncles, extended family. And so, if things were on a bad note when you last talked to this person, now may be the time for you to reach out and see if you can, squash whatever it is, get things back in order. Um, you're also going to have to rediscover the ideas that you feel passionate about, the things that light you up. And if you are willing, rethink the way you communicate your truth, okay? Review what you choose to share with the world and how you choose to share that with the world. You don't have to put everything out there for everybody to see. It's up to you what you want the world to know about you. All right, and so for Taurus, this is going to be taking place in your second house. Second house is the house of personal finance and self worth. And so, for the next few months, you may find yourself going through your finances and taking a really, really major focus and look at your spending habits. Have your shopping habits become too expensive, or are you denying yourself simple pleasures just to be penny wise, but foolish? And so you definitely want to take this time while it's in your second house to reevaluate not only how you are spending your money, because Gemini also governs commerce, okay, and the marketplace. So you want to not only recognize, take into account how you spend your money, but also, any investing that you may want to do. How you want to save money, and also your self worth, because second house also rules the self worth, and so you need to be looking at your sense of self, your sense of self worth, and if it isn't enriching your life, if it isn't serving you in a positive way, then you definitely want to make some changes to improve how you feel about yourself. Because one thing that people have got to realize, especially women, especially as women, we have to realize that how we feel about ourselves, it impacts every area of our life, including our money. Okay, including our money. And so if you don't feel worthy of making money, if you don't feel worthy of love, if you don't feel worthy of trust, if you don't feel worthy of anything, that unworthiness is going to leak over into every area of your life. And so you have to make sure that you are working on your self-worth, that you are doing your self-care, that you are loving on yourself. And I'm not talking about going to get your nails done or anything like that. And I'm not saying that anything is wrong with that, because that's beautiful. I like doing that just like the next. But you have to also work on that, do that inner self care. Okay. And so for Geminis, this is going to be in your first house. First house is the house of self, your self image. And so the next few months could be really challenging for you, because Mars will be going through your first house, and so you may struggle with being heard. You may also struggle with memories of being overlooked or disrespected in the past, and that could be depleting your emotional energy. However, the good thing about this retrograde is that it could it will also present you with opportunities for you to finally stand up for yourself and stop allowing yourself to be walked over. Okay. And so if you've ever thought about, man, I wish I did just had one more chance to cuss so and so out after how they tried me, because I done thought about it and I would say this and I would say that and da 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 da. Y'all don't do that. I done did it before, but but like, what I'm saying, now would be that chance, and not to like actually cuss them out or whatever. Although if that warrants, if you got to slide that in, I mean, it is what it is. But um, this is going to give you a chance to finally stand up to for yourself. If it's somebody who um if it's somebody who, has always been just disrespecting you, and now it's like, okay, you know what, I'm tired of this shit. Like, you're not finna keep trying me, bro. You just not finna keep trying me. And no, I'm not saying that need to go fight the person or whatever. However, you do need to, stand up for yourself and make sure that people know that they just can't walk all over you. Now, I'm not saying go up to them and start anything. However, if they come at you the wrong way, boom, there go your opportunity. Go and let them know you're not gonna keep trying me, bro. You're just not gonna keep trying me with that BS. All right. And so what you're gonna learn through this process is you're gonna gain wisdom on knowing when to cause a stir and when to take a step back. Okay. And so for cancers, this is going to be going through your 12th house. 12th house is the house of spirituality and the subconscious. And so you may feel less present in the current moment and less present to your drive. You may want to, kind of take a step back, live in your imagination a little bit, and just kind of be more in solitude. Um, One thing you're gonna have to be really, really cognizant, cognizant of is that your emotions are gonna flow like water. Okay, they are gonna be up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and so you just need to go with the flow. Okay, you just need to go with the flow. I know having Gemini energy, which is mental energy, on a water house is not it's not easy to begin with. However, what this may do, this retrograde may teach you, is how to be more in touch with your subconscious, be more in touch with your emotions, and actually allow things um, to actually take the time to feel and actually process, some things, get in that subconscious and process some things, because there's some things there that you need to work on. Um, and so this is the perfect time for you to sit down and work on journaling. I think I said that earlier, but journaling is going to be really, really great for you at this time, to get your thoughts out and onto paper. And so moving on to Leos. For Leos, this is going to be in your 11th house. 11th house is the house of friends, it's humanitarian work, it's dreams and wishes come true. And so for you, um, if you have like a community, um, or a team, and it may feel as though you guys aren't in sync, it might have something to do, more than likely, it has something to do with this Mars retrograde. And so this retrograde is forcing you to unravel all the chains that tie everyone together, um, because it's creating conflicts and hiccups. It may be time to purge through your community or purge through your friends group, because everybody, this is level up season. I don't know if you guys can feel it. And what's really, really impactful about this Mars retrograde is that it's taking place in while the sun is in Scorpio. And so this is a major transformation season right here that we are in. These next 4 weeks, 3 weeks. I think it's hasn't been a week since we've been in Scorpio season, almost a week. Anyway, so these next 3 weeks or so, major transformation is going to be taking place. And so you're going to need to go through your friends group. Are these people really my friends? And not just your friend group, but also like any like networking or things that you do. Go through the people that you are connected with. Are they still in line with your purpose? Because if not, you may want to cut ties. You may, you're no longer on that trajectory, and so you may want to, cut ties so that you can, have availability for to connect and network with people who are on the trajectory that you are currently on. Um, Also, because the 11th house also rules hopes and dreams, there may be a little struggle with finding the will to bring your vision to life. Okay. But as you call attention to what's bringing you doubt, you will immediately lessen the severity of its power. Okay. So once you figure out what you're doubtful about, then you can move forward because doubt is just fear and confusion. Okay. And so once you acknowledge that, you'll gain more clarity in order to move forward. Okay. And so for Virgos, this is going to be in your 10th house. 10th house is the house of career and your legacy. And so for you, right now, you may be feeling like you've been doing all this work and it's amounting to nothing. Um, you feel like, you're losing your mojo. Um, because it's like you've been so productive, but it just feels like you're spinning, yourself in circles. Okay. And so for you may not be getting any engagement, especially if you are doing this like on social media. So you may not be getting any engagement, or you may be dealing with some unwanted attention. And so, or the image that you've been putting out may no longer be in alignment with who you currently are. Okay. And so you're going to take this time to rediscover who you are within your career. Okay. Where is it that you want to go? What is it that you want to do? What is the legacy that you want to leave here on the earth realm once you transition? And so once this, retrograde is over, you may be on track to do a rebrand of your career or business or what have you. And so just again, go with the flow, let things fall as they may, because again, this is transformation season. So a lot of things are going to be shaken up and changed within these next 3, 4 weeks. And this retrograde is going to be going on until January. So, you know, now, for Libras, this is going to be in your ninth house. Ninth house is the house of beliefs. Okay. It's also higher education, higher learning, long distance travel. And so for you, you're beginning to think more about what motivates you to seek the truth and to embrace the unknown. And so for you, you need to be willing to accept that nothing will turn out. Exactly as you are hoping for, um, when it comes to manifesting and your vision. Okay, so basically, what I'm saying is that don't be so attached to the how it's going to happen. Get attached to actually seeing the goal in real life, and be a little flexible with it. Okay, because you may be wanting you may be wanting to go this way, and spirit is like, no, I want you to go this way. You're still going to get to your destination, but just don't be so hung up on the how. And so you believe that because it's not happening how you think it should happen, that it's not going to happen. And so that's not true. Okay. Just again, be in the flow with this Mars retrograde. It is very, very imperative for everybody to be in flow. Okay, ladies, we must be in flow within this retrograde, because trying to bucket or trying to control, have any type of control during this Mars retrograde is going to spell disaster. Okay, release all expectations and just be in the flow. Okay, now for Scorpios. This is going to be taking place in your eighth house. Eighth house is the house of intimacy. It's also the other money house. So it's like your partner's money or business money. And so for you, this is going to be forcing you to rethink what motivates the way you embrace, give, and take. Okay. What drives you to merge with another person? What boundaries are non negotiable for you? And what distrust have you gained over the years? This retrograde is going to force you to recognize when you are ready to be vulnerable and when you need to draw a line in the sand. And if something hasn't earned your trust, then there's no need for you to give it. Okay. And if merging with something provides you with less than what it takes, then you may need to rethink the terms of your conditions, or you may not just need to, go into collaboration or relationship with that person. And so for Sagittarius, this will be in your seventh house. Seventh house is the house of marriage, serious relationships, negotiations, business relationships, and partnerships. And so, if there are any unresolved conflicts lingering between you and a partner within the next few months, you're going to be forced to get to the root of the problem. Um, and so, because Mars is going to be stationary retrograde in your seventh house, it's going to force you to rethink the way you respond to conflict and how you choose to solve it. If you've been putting off couples therapy, this retrograde will probably force you to actually to go and to do it and to make the time to have the necessary but difficult conversations. If you and a rival still have unfinished business between you, this may lead to another face off where you guys will hopefully finally squash it and solve it. You're going to have to communicate in a way that encourages your partnership to support you rather than deplete you. Okay. You can't work together if you're constantly working against each other. And so, if you guys are just bumping heads and you just can't see any headway, this retrograde might be signaling you to say it's time to sever it and move your separate ways. All right, and so for Capricorns, this is going to be in your sixth house. Sixth house is daily work routines, and health. And so, you may have to tear your whole, um, you know, day-to-day system apart and put it back together. You may need to get a new routine. Okay, you may be needing to find the balance between the work you do for others and the work that you do for yourself. Sixth house is the house of service. Okay, and so is your day job inhibiting you on your ability to work on your dreams? Um, if so, then it may be time for you to experiment with finding a new means of supporting yourself. Are you struggling to feel rested? And do you always feel just tired and exhausted? Um, then this retrograde, you're going to be working on your health. You're going to be taking a serious deep dive look on your health and figuring out, okay, what can I do what do I need to change? Exercise, sleep patterns, get better eating habits. What is it that I need to change um, in order to who is this? Send me a friend request for accurate reading. Okay. Um, and so you're going to be taking a deep dive into your health and just figuring out what it is that I need to do to get my health back on track. All right, and so for Aquarius, this is going to be in your fifth house, which is the house of pleasure and romance and creativity. And so, if the passion in the bedroom has died down, then Mars is going to, it's because you're going to have to rethink how, you know, how how you can reignite your passion. And I'm not just saying passion when it comes to like sex. I'm also saying like your passion in, for life, and your passion for, whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that you're doing. You're going to have to reignite that passion. You're going to have to figure out what happened to it. Where did it go? And how do I get it back? Or, what it is that I need to do. You're going to experiment with new ways of finding joy, expressing yourself artistically, and turning yourself on in the bedroom. Um, you might find some new, toys that you like, or I mean, we grown on here, so you might find some new things, or you and your boo might, find some new ways to experiment how to enjoy each other. But either way, you're going to come out with a renewed sense of passion, with a renewed sense of joy, and just being perfectly okay with being who you are. Okay, and enjoying and loving who you are, because fifth house is also um, self-love is also there in the fifth house as well. Let's see here. Oh, Aquarius. Okay. Hey, I just talked about Aquarius too. Okay, and then last but definitely not least, we're going to have Pisces, and for Pisces, this is going to be in your fifth house. Okay, and I'm sorry, fourth house. Fourth house is the house of home, ancestors, your roots. And so for you, you are going to be looking at how you interact with your family members. Okay. Um, what boundaries have do you need to set up when it comes to your family? Okay. Um, things may, you and your family may have been struggling to get along. The whole house just may have been in total chaos. Um, and so this retrograde is going to shine a light on the frustrations that have been brewing, the conflicts that you've been keeping to yourself, the things that you're not going to want to share. And so it's time for you to really sit down and, again, journaling is going to be absolutely every woman's best friend. Um, During this retrograde is just getting it all out, but also having the conversations with your family and sitting them down and saying, look, guys, I'm not getting the help that I need around the house. I need, nobody's pulling their weight. I feel like I'm doing everything. I feel like nobody appreciates me. Have those conversations, and you never know. They may be feeling some type of way as well. And so you need to sit down within your family unit. And even if, you don't have any kids, say you just have a roommate, and you and your roommate, and it feels like it's been some tension in the home, have a household meeting. Just be like, look, dog, like this ain't working out. Like, I'm feeling some type of way, and um, you know, let's get this out. This is how I'm feeling. And they tell you how you feeling, and squash it. Your home life is supposed to be peaceful. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be where you can retreat from the world and just be you unapologetically. And so when the energy is off in your home, it you bring that energy out into the world. And when I used to work a job, they would say, "Oh, you need to leave home at home." And yeah, I get that. You don't go to the office telling all your business and all of that. However, sometimes it's hard for you to leave home at home, depending upon what the situation is. And even though you may not talk about it at work, or you may not tell people your business, that energy is still there. And so you give that energy off, and people can feel that. Okay. And so, you want to take this time to really, do some deep cleaning. You may need to actually do some physical cleaning as well, to clear those energies out, so that, coming out of this retrograde, moving forward, home is home. Home feels like home, and there's no, frustrations there, or no bad juju, no bad energies in between you guys. And so I hope you found value in this live. If you did, please do share it out so that others can find value as well. Also, if you would like to book a reading with a energy audit with me, it's 20 minutes, and where I go over your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, and your chart ruler, and I explain how they have an impact on your life and how you can use those energies to best manifest and navigate your life. If you would like to book one of those, the link to book will be in the comments for you to go ahead and book. And also, if you guys want to send me stars, I think that's so cute. I get stars and all that. So cute. If you would like to send me some stars, you can definitely send me some stars. I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, check out YouTube. Check out the YouTube's Understanding You University. Check out the YouTube channel. I am doing the houses series now. So if you are looking like, hey, dang, what she keep talking about these houses? I don't even know what she's talking about. The houses series is live and in effect, and so you can start there to understand the houses, so that when I'm like, okay, this is going to be affecting your third house, you can be like, oh, third house, okay, I know what that is. So going on over there and check that out. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your evening and a happy Mars retrograde, and stay safe. Please stay safe. Y'all don't get in no accidents. Drive as safe as you possibly can. Watch out for everybody, everything when you're driving, because people, they driving crazy. They driving crazy. And so I want you guys to always remember that possibilities are endless. If you can see it in your mind, then you can definitely hold it in your hand, and that should make you smile because you really do create your own reality. Have an amazing one.